Hello guys. Today we're going to be looking at my top 10 most expensive blasters in my arsenal. My top 10 most expensive blasters makes up the majority of the amount of money I've spent on nerf. And total, all 10 blasters adds up to almost $2,000. Actually, $1,990 on these 10 blasters. And because they're my most expensive, I'm dressed up all fancy. So hope you enjoy the video today. Let's get on to number 1. So number 1 is my solid gold nerf gun. I'm just kidding. This blaster comes in at $110, which I have named Gladius, which is a very big blaster based on a rival blaster. Forget the name of this guy, but it was it held the 40 round giant magazine. Yeah, I bought it full price and I chopped it up. It holds a Titan tank and a Titan pump right here. That's what I did with it. And there's a giant tube magazine with a barrel. So why is the magazine so big? Well, that's because this thing shoots Mega XLs. This thing holds 6 Mega XLs, firing them around 100 feet per second. The barrel is a Centurion barrel, which worked. I have better barreling now. I just can't remove this any longer. And has one of those little, I forget what this one is, but this was the barrel attachment, the shotgun burst, triple shot. Painted this thing all red, did everything to it, connected the triggers. Like I said, Titan tank. Actually, with all these, my PVC builds, the PVC are really expensive. The only thing more expensive than the PVC is the blaster. So, overall, this is my number 10. Let's get on to number 9. This one is pretty old, so it was not made to look nice. This one is called Titan Hawk, which was once my longest blaster, not anymore. And it was, I put $120 into this one, $10 more than the last one, and it is this. Gonna get it all in frame. This monstrosity of a blaster. So this guy is based on an Alpha Hawk blaster and Titan tanks. That's why it's Titan Hawk. This guy, blaster, bought for full price again. Cheaper than the last one, but still full price. And if you can't tell, it has 2 Titan tanks. Yes, I made a one-shot Titan with 2 Titan tanks. It has a whole 3 feet of brass, which was a lot of money. Nowadays, I have this, which is also 3 feet of brass, but it has a little connector for me. So I no longer have to, just have a blaster with 3 feet of brass that I can't get rid of or move. This guy holds half darts, yes. It's a breech loader right there. You load around in, shut it, pump it up. Thing leaks a little bit because, like I said, this thing's really old. And on the front, the red pipe can hold a rocket. So that's this guy, not much about it. The pump is in the back right here. And the pump does come out, which is not great. But everything's connected very jankily. There's literally, it's glue. There's some zip ties in there, if you can see. I don't regret building this guy. I actually think it's interesting. Because one of my big things in Nerf was I wanted to see how far I can take a dart. See how far and strong I can get it to shoot. Not at someone, just to see how far a Nerf threat can actually go. And for a long time, this guy really was not beat. Because, of course, having 2 Titan tanks helps a lot. Well, now with that, let's move on to number 8, shall we? So this one is very interesting because we're moving up $20 now instead of $10. This one comes out to around $140. And this one is almost completely stock. This is my Prometheus. The only thing I did to it was put this giant thing on it. And again, this guy, I bought it right when it came out for a full price of 120 bucks. And the extra 20 was a few bucks on this, which was a cheese ball can. And so much glue. I used so much glue on this guy because this thing just wouldn't stay on. So much glue. But yeah, to be honest, even paying $120 now, I still would. This blaster, if you have the money to actually shoot it, which I do not often, at least, is fun. This thing's awesome. I love using this thing. 8 rounds a second or whatever it is. I love it. This is my favorite minigun nerf ever made. So, at number 8, it's pretty good. Now, let's move on to number 7. Comes in at $150. $10 more than the Prometheus. And this one has a really interesting story in my arsenal. This is the... What is this? The Prophecy. Sorry. It's been a while. The Prophecy. Nowadays, this thing's been obsolete, mostly. It's still a performer, but there's better options out there now for cheaper. For $150, this was the cheapest one I built. Yes, I built multiple, because this is my Prophecy Mark III, and it's backwards. What I did to this guy was more and less than the other ones I have. There will be more on this list. This one's the cheapest one. Metal trigger, metal parts, different plunger tube. This one's a clear plunger tube. Different kind of spring. This is a thinner type of spring in here. And the pump is very weird. This thing is definitely... It has way too much... It's very hard to prime this, and it really shouldn't be for what it is. And it has an Alpha Trooper barrel in it, barrel kit in it. So, not a lot of power. It still gets 150 with this short barrel. And also that yellow right there. People might not like this, but that is the barrel of the 1995 Crossbow. I shoved it in there around the barrel because it shoots Mega XLs now out of the front. Say what you will. I'm a weird guy. I don't care how rare the blaster is. I will probably mod it if I can. So, not much to say about this guy. Just one of the big springers of its time. And I really liked the Prophecy. I really did like the Prophecies. And I'll never buy another one. But I will always respect these. These are great. And also the barrel is a little bit wiggly, and I don't like that. Alright. Well, let's move on to number 6, shall we? So, still making a slow climb in price. This is another $10 on the last one. This is $160. And what I said before, PVC is expensive. And this blaster is pretty much just PVC, really. Which is my biggest blaster now. Which I don't know if we're not getting this thing in frame. But there's the front of it. And almost the back of it. It touched my wall. So this is my 7-foot anti-tank cannon. Which a good $160 into this guy. Which is what I put into it. And it uses a drain blaster as its power. And yes, the majority of its barrel is fake. Well, it's not useful. The actual barrel that holds a dart is about this long. That's all the power it gets from it. And that is a... What is that one? Get the name of that blaster, but it's another barrel that holds Mega XLs. This thing fires Mega XLs. and it does not fire them well. About 50 FPS you get with this guy. So it's pretty much all just PVC. Has a little hinge right there and a little door closer thing right there. And a worker stock with a shoe on the back of it, because why not? It's pretty nice. Oh. Sorry, it's almost touching my roof. And a bipod. A very long bipod. This is actual bipod. This is just PVC, and this is the back of the bipod. Bipod was actually kind of expensive, also adding to this price. And yeah, actually, something about me is I prefer the old school stuff like PVC over 3D printing. I'm just not a fan of it. Do what you want, but this is amazing. I built it just to be a giant blaster. Everyone loves when I bring this one to a war, and to be honest, it does take a lot out of me, but I have blasters like the Gladius. That one, trying to use that in a battle, man, that thing just drains you. This one's not as bad. It's just big and bulky and hard to carry around. And if you want to see an actual review on this guy, leave a comment in below. Maybe I will. Let's see if people actually are interested. All right. Well, with that, let's move on to the top 5. At number 5. And again, we do slowly climb in price. I promise you the prices will get much higher. But now we're still slowly climbing, because at number 5, another $10 at $170, which is a lot of money, especially for nerf. This is known as a cheap hobby, but you can also not make it cheap. And what's interesting about number 5 is the anti-tank cannon Mark II, pretty much, which is this guy right here. And yes, you might tell, it is way smaller. This guy's name is actually the Har Conan, which is based on what the anti-tank cannon was originally based on, which was an anime blaster anyways. And this guy uses, same thing, PVC and a drain blaster, but it uses, instead of a plastic barrel, has my metal barrels, which is actually fencing material as its barrel, which makes it way more powerful. And this guy has a nerf stock this time, kind of. It's been engulfed. This is also my heaviest blaster. Yes, it is heavier than the 7-foot anti-tank cannon. This thing is very heavy. That one is just unwieldy. This thing's just heavy because it is really thick PVC with a lot of glue. And, what is it? Expanding foam in this. And some water weld on the back. This putty stuff that will dry and become solid. So, this guy's a fun one. I still need to do some work on it. It has a few issues, but overall, it's powerful. It shoots, again, Mega XL, but it shoots it at 120 FPS. This is one of my highest performing with Mega XL. Mega XL is one of my favorite ammo types, if you would like to know. And with that, I think we're just about done with the PVC blasters, you think? Yes, we are. This is my most expensive PVC blaster. And let's move on to number 4. The final blaster before we really jump in price. This one, also a little bit more than the Har Conan, coming in at $180, $10 more than the Har Conan. And this thing's seen so much. I'm surprised it's even still here. It's seen everything but an actual war itself, which is crazy. This is my Prometheus. Yeah, whatever. My Prometheus Mark I. This was the first one I bought, and this thing has done so much. It's been through so much stuff. This one has a plastic trigger, and this thing is so old, the back actually cracked. I don't know how it cracked, but it cracked, so I glued it. And the glue is somewhat holding up-ish, and it has... I have had so many half-dart mag holders that I ran out, and I took one from this one, so now this one has the Dart Zone Pro mag holder instead. And not just that, it has this guy, which is the Pro X-Shot Blaster's handle that is now on this guy. I have taken parts and I've put parts back into it because I've actually taken out its original barrel and I've replaced it, if you can't tell. It's glued in this time now because this one is longer than the original scar barrel in the front. You can just take that off, but this one stays on. And this guy, which is from a 3D printed shotgun that I forget the name of. It fired shells. It was all over the place a few years back. I do like stuff like this, the small 3D printed stuff. That's fine with me. But yeah, just another thing like this. Has a spring that I don't even know what's in it anymore. I think it's still a spring like this because I have taken its original spring, I know that. I have put in a smaller spring and put a penny mod in it. And this spring now, which I have no clue where it's from, but it works. It works well still to this day. This one hits around, like, I think 170s. Oh, and what's even more crazy, it doesn't even have the metal barrel holder thing. It has the plastic one because I glued it in. I glued this barrel into this time because I took that one out. Like I said, this is technically one of my scrap blasters, but I will always keep this thing running. Even though I've scrapped a lot of stuff from it and taken it, it's still $180 are still into this blaster. And this one, for some reason, this one's barrel is there's no wiggle for this one compared to my other one, which is interesting. Well, now with that insane story, let's get on to the real money blasters at number 3. So now we go from number 4's price of $180 to number 3, clocking in at $250, a good $70 more than number 4. My number 3 is well known from the past. It's the 1995 Crossbow. This guy I picked up for around, I think, $220, $230, stuff like that. Came with the bow arms, came with all that. And I modded it. Actually, I modded it with the blaster that really stopped me from enjoying 3D printed blasters, which is the Caliburn. Not the Caliburn of today's age, the original Caliburn, the Mark I, which broke in the first 5 hours of me having it, which was a shame. And I understand you need a 3D printer and you can just print extra parts, but I don't want to do that. I prefer to build and create with my hands. That's why I like PVC. I like old school nerf. So, the Caliburn has its Caliburn plunger tube, its Caliburn plunger head, pretty much. This thing has its original spring in it, so it's not that powerful. It hits around 130 to 150, pretty much. And this guy is just history, and I really wanted one. Well, when I was younger, I really wanted it because it was Drax's favorite blaster. Yes. Why not? I put some foam in the back so its priming bar doesn't, completely destroy itself. And it still works pretty well today. And yeah, that's pretty much that guy. It has my little coupler on the front, so it takes anything I put into it. But this thing is made for half darts. This is not great. It's not that accurate compared to my other stuff, which is interesting. But just having this guy in decent condition. I have definitely worsened its condition. Its priming bar is ragged at this point, and it has some stress. A little bit of stress from the plunger tube I put in it, even though the top of it is slightly open. And yeah, that's number 3. Let's get on to the final 2, shall we? Number 2. So, coming in $10 more than the 1995 Crossbow, coming in at $260, is a blaster I've always wanted to build, but I did not have the money for the parts, which now that I'm older I did, so I finally did it. But the thing is, in the past, I tried to make it with just its stock parts and just cramming springs into it, and I completely blew it up. I blew it up. The only thing left was the plunger tube that wasn't broken. And that is the long shot. This guy is my modified long shot. This is the blue version, which was not a lot of money. The reason why this is only $260 is because I picked up this guy at a thrift store for about $10. Its front gun is actually more expensive, coming in at, I think, $35, which is my little shotgun burst. And this is also a barrel attachment, if you can't tell. And I also lost one of my barrel inserts, so my shotgun doesn't work right now. It never worked great to begin with, but it's cool. This is a Supermax blaster, Supermax 500, as my shotgun in the front. And the way you pump it is with its actual pump, which is kind of cool. And this guy's name is Punisher. I named it Punisher because why not? This guy's built for high FPS battle. Oh, and this little chain right here is from the Ripsaw, if you'd like to know. Well, the Zombie Strike Ripsaw thing. It has a little pack right here that holds half-dart magazines, holds 2. And this guy is heavy. It's not that heavy, but it is one of my heavier blasters. It's definitely in like my top 5 heaviest. But I've actually used this for a speed game, and I think I used it for like 15 rounds before our team finally lost. And this thing is awesome. I love it. I put metal in the back to make it somewhat balanced-ish. Where is it? That leans it forward. Yeah, the pump grip's about where it's balanced. So, the internals are fully metal, and this metal is insane. I love this stuff. It's just massive. The trigger is metal. I love metal triggers. And the pump grip is from Worker, and it is 3D printed. The bars are metal, though. And this thing is actually not bad for what I get out of it, because this thing hits about 250. This is for super stock, super something, one of those. But I love it. The paint job's mine. Pink. If you want to know how to do this paint job, it's just you paint it pink, and then I painted it white, then you run some soap on it, and then you paint it over with the color you want, pink, and then you wash it off, and then you clear coat it. That's pretty much how I got this paint job, and it's one of my personal favorites, and it's just easy, so I do it a lot. Not too much, actually. But yeah, this is my long shot, and it actually has the Elite long shot barrel as its thing. And it does have a little sight, which doesn't do anything, but the little iron sight's cool. And yeah, that's how this guy came out, and this is my second most expensive blaster. So let's get to a huge jump in price at number 1. This blaster, my long shot, remember, $260. The number 1 most expensive blaster in my arsenal is $450, which is just crazy to me. I put all I had in this guy. And if you saw my returning video after 5 years, I've been gone a long time. In that video, you guys should know. I still can't believe that video got 405 views. Just crazy to me. But that will be my, again, prophecy. This guy is technically the Mark II, the second prophecy I got, but I named it the ASE. What does ASE stand for? Well, I have a friend that does airsoft, and he invited me to some battles, but I don't really care about using the blasters. That's just not me. I want to do something different. So I wanted to build a blaster that could at least attempt to compete with airsoft. And ASE stands for Airsoft Ender. That's why I named it that. And this guy is just insane. This one looks different than my other prophecies, because I bought the expensive kit on it. I did everything I could in it. It is clear with entirely everything is inside metal. Everything is red metal. And it has yellow tube with a a built-in metal scar in here. I wonder, can you let me see if I can show you guys. I don't think it's gonna show, but yeah, it's too dark. But well, it's fine. And yes, this is a black barrel, but it really doesn't matter because I always have it covered. I had to go cheap somewhere, and that's where I went. I bought the black one instead of the orange one. At the time, black one was on sale. So, this thing also does have 3D printed parts. Crazy, but it does. It has a 3D printed pump. Originally, it had a handle pump thing, but it was just awful on the hand, and I hated having to prime this thing with it. So I replaced it with a worker 3D printed one. And the stock is also a 3D printed worker sniper stock. And I just like the stock, so I bought it and put it on a rifle. Why not? I love it. I love the size of it. It's pretty much slightly too long probably, but I love it. I do have some issues with the stock. Like this part keeps moving, keeps coming apart. I need to just buy some really good glue to glue it down for good. I also painted the 3D printed parts red. And this guy, I just built it. And I don't really regret it. I love this thing. When I need a blaster that I can rely on completely and utterly, it's this guy. This guy will not fail me. This guy hits about, I think it's about little bit over 200, so 200 to 210 FPS, which is not, not unbelievable, but it's just what I need. I don't need the most powerful. I just need something that will always hit what I'm aiming at, and that's what this guy is. And yes, there is no scope. I do not like scopes. I did put a little tiny red dot on it in the past, but I took it off almost instantly. I like just aiming down the barrel. It's just, I'm used to it. I'm just good at it. So that's what I do. So my most expensive blaster, the ASE right here. And with that, let's get to the firing demo. And a lot of you don't even take a look at it, which is completely fine. So if this is where you end, have a nice day. And if you want to watch the firing demo, be my guest. See you guys in the next video.